Bam, we're live. Darn it. I just did 2 minutes of show on the wrong channel. Jackass.
Wait. Were you live on a different one?
Yeah, don't, Sousa, don't. Remember we were gonna have Emily Rolfe on, and I never, and that broadcast is all set up. And so I Emily Rolfe, Neal Maddox. What's the difference? That's how open I am. Man, woman, black, white, other. I don't give a fuck. I thought Emily Rolfe and Neal Maddox were the same person. I thought Neal was just Emily in transition. I got it all fucked up.
I was nervous. And then when I saw the comments coming in on the side, I was like, okay, I think I'm on the right one then.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I randomly open the book and I read to you a segment. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets things come and go, effortlessly without desire. He never expects results. Thus, he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed. Thus, his spirit never grows old. Booyah! Random pickup from the greatest book in the world. I know that's going to upset some of you. Do not let it. Because if you are offended, then you need to go back to the Jim Hensel podcast. That's just a random opening of a book called The Tao Te Ching. A friend of mine gave this to me in college. And as you can see, it is my favorite book. And he said in here, he wrote this thing in here that I always read to make sure that I stay in the material world and keep my head huge. Sevan, this is your book. This book is you. That was incredible. That's number 55 in the Tao Te Ching. That's the Stephen Mitchell translation. You want this book if you do not own this book. This book says absolutely nothing. You must have this book. This book points into the no-thing world. Brian Gamble, Heidi Krum. What? Heidi Krum? Krum? Have you seen that movie Krum? Crumb, about the San Francisco comic? If you have not seen Krum, you have to see that movie. It's a documentary. Victor Brown, Miss Sucky My Plums. Wow. Yes, please. Miss Sucky My Plums. You must be popular in the club. We got Neal Maddox coming in. He is at the gym still getting his swole on. He told us to be a few minutes late. I told him it's fine. 7:10 would be great. Eric, good morning. I thought of an example today that would explain to people why so many people around them are dumb. Some of you will get this, some of you will not. If you don't get this, that is because you are on the dumb side of judgment. You just are dumb. But there's hope. The good thing is that there's hope, and in dumbness, there's a lot of happiness. So here we go. If I point to someone who's running out of a store, and let's say they stole something, and I say, and the cop goes, "What did he look like?" And I said, "He was a black guy." The color of his skin has nothing to do with the fact that he's stealing from the store. Zero. And when you make that connection, that's normal. Just like you would make the connection if you saw a snake with a big ass mandible that, yeah, he has venomous fangs in there. You know, you start building up some sort of identity and discrimination and prejudice, just like you stay away from fast cars, right? Instead of slow cars, because you start to build a discrimination and prejudice against them. Nothing wrong with that. Those aren't bad words, but there's no truth to it. There's no absolute truth to it. If you saw a black guy running out of a store and you thought that, and I told the cop that the guy was black, and you thought the color of his skin had anything to do with the fact that he was taking something from the store, zero. But if I pointed at someone and a group of people, I said, that guy has type 2 diabetes, and Susan said, who? And I said, the fat guy. At that point, when I say the fat guy, I'm not only describing him, but I'm telling you, yes. And you have to be smart enough to know the difference. Yes, that fat is indicative of having type 2 diabetes. Stealing in black skin, not related. Helping people in black skin, not related. Now, if I said, if there were a bunch of guys, if I'm sitting in a room and I said, someone said, which guy has cancer? And I said, the black guy, then he has skin cancer, then it might have something. Or if I said something about how his skin reacts to the sun, then that characteristic is related. And that's where the confusion is, because we want to dumb everything down because we don't think people can figure that out in society. There's this subway in the Bay Area. The Bay Area is San Francisco, Oakland, that whole area surrounding that body of water in California called the Bay Area. And we have a subway here, a horrible one, completely impractical pile of shit, called BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit.
Yeah.
And they don't want to release their camera footage of all the crime because they think it will support racism. Now think about that. How dumb are those people that they have it confused? I'm going to make the assumption or presupposition that all the people stealing on those camera videos are black people. And because of that, they don't want to show it because then they think people will make the connection that it's black people committing all the crime. We can't stop that. We can't help that. But if you're in that group and you think skin color is indicative as opposed to just a description, then you're a fucking retard. You are the racist. Those are the racist. The Stop Asian Hate people, racist. They support it as its essence under the guise of trying to be kind, but it just feeds it. It's like the person, I swear to you, man, it's like the old lady who feeds the rats. And your neighborhood's full of rats because every night at midnight she goes out and lays down a 20-pound bag of dog food. but she's being told that she is a humanitarian and environmentalist. By the way, you guys must be ecstatic who voted for Biden and John Kerry. Did you see John Kerry's really concerned about what the war is going to do to global warming?
That's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
I bet you not one person you know who believes in global warming could explain the scientific merit behind it. You know it can't be reversed engineered. You know that's the main problem, right? You can't take the theory of global warming that they have and go backwards in time and be like, yes, there should have been a hurricane here. Yes, there should have been this issue here. Yes, the glacier should have been like this here. That's the problem with the theory. If it was valid, it would work in both directions, predicting the future and going backwards, predicting the back.
Yeah.
And it does not work like that. I can tell you, I can give you a theory of when there was traffic every day for the last 1,000 days in Santa Cruz, California. I have a theory for that. I can tell you the time, the dates that there wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Oh, the global warming theory does not work like that.
Well, most of those political things are just wrapped up in to sound good. So then that way you support them. And then really it's just them siphoning more money, more bureaucrats, more administrators, so they could just pay and continue to grow the government as is, not actually fix or change anything.
And then you feel guilty. And then you feel guilty for not believing it. And you don't want to stand up because they try to intimidate you and say that you're stupid or something like that. It must be freezing in Neal Maddox gym.
What's up, gentlemen?
That's the only reason why he'd need
What's
a
up,
mask.
Neal?
What's up, Neal? You giving away free masks in your gym, buddy?
What's up?
I said I was just making fun of your mask.
Hey, man, I'm right across the street from a hospital. So when you're right across the street from the hospital, you got to follow the rules or sheriff shows up to your facility.
Neal Maddox has a gym in the hive of psycho insanity. It's about 50 to 60 miles. I don't even know if you're that far north of me. You're 20 miles north of me, right?
Yeah.
I also live in the hive of insanity. It's crazy. The gym looks good, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man.
2011 Reebok. Look at you.
I still have all the old school when it was good.
Oh, that's nice.
Neal, do you know Matt Souza? He owns CrossFit Livermore.
Oh, buddy, how you doing?
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, man. Great to meet you.
Yeah. So we just got done doing a little bit of an open workout here, and so that's why I was running a little bit behind this morning.
Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Good to see you. What's the temp in there? I know you look like you're. Oh, yeah.
It's cold, man. It's pretty cold right now. So we're out here grinding.
We were just talking about predictive things that you could predict. Tell me about how temperature affects people showing up to that. That's your 6 o'clock class, 6 a.m. class.
Yeah, I mean, in the morning. So if it's summertime, it's a little bit different. But right now, I mean, it affects people. The colder it is, the less people show up. The warmer it is, more people show up. So right now, it's a pretty cold day, but we had a good turnout. 12.
Do you have I go to that skate park in Sunnyvale once a week, and the people there look totally different than like the skate park by my house. It's mostly boys between the age of 7 and 25.
Yep.
And when I go to the skate park in Sunnyvale, it's mostly it's a combination, but everyone's older. There's like 40-year-old Asian women there. There's like lots of them. They're all just rich fucking Silicon Valley types who you know what I mean? They're all investors and shit like that. It's like really rich, smart people. Like if I talk to someone there, I'm like, hey, what do you do? They're like, I'm an engineer at Facebook. I discovered a new skateboard. Do you want to see the bearings on? I mean, just everyone's like, is it like that in your gym too? It's just overachievers, smart.
I have a pretty good blend of a little bit of everything, from your NFL athlete on down to your typical 72-year-old old mother pop. So I have a good mix of everything. As you were talking about with that skate park, it just reminded me back in the day in San Jose, we used to have this awesome warehouse that was it was basically Tony Hawk. All the best used to come down here. It was 10th Street. It was a 10th Street warehouse. They had big, humongous 20-foot half pipes. I mean, you had Steve Caballero. You had everybody. So as a kid, I was a skater. So as a kid, I'd just go down there, go to the skate park, and you'd just watch all these icons skating. But then, of course, once I got into football, I got rid of skateboarding, got rid of all that stuff, and solely focused on that.
You got an active guy in the NFL in your gym?
So the guys who I've worked with through this past season, I was helping Kevin Givens with the Niners rehab. Kiko Alonso is one of my other guys that I worked with. Darnell Sankey, Shane Smith, and so on. So
that's awesome.
I'll tell you a story. I never have told anyone the first time. I don't even think my wife knows. She probably knows because I probably cried in my hotel room that night. I don't remember what games it was, but I started filming the behind the scenes a day earlier than I normally do, and the first and it was the day or two before the event started. And I was like so proud of myself. I got to Carson early. And one of the things I filmed is at nighttime, all of you guys went down to test the water for the swim. This was even before the game started.
Yep.
And there was this amazing lecture that the lifeguards gave, like basically telling you guys, hey, there's sharks out there at all times. And I was staying very close to you at that point. And then everyone went out for the swim, and you got fucking mauled by a jellyfish.
No, it was a stingray. I got stung by
stingray. Oh, okay, yeah. And you were fucked up.
Yeah, so we're out there.
All that. Go ahead.
So what happened was we went out there. We're getting briefed on everything what was going on, and they said shuffle your feet when you're out there because there are stingrays. Believe it or not, most of the stingrays hang out more so towards the pier versus out in the open area because there's that shade and all that stuff. And so we're pretty close to the pier. So I went walking out, and literally, I mean, I was maybe ankle, not even little over ankle deep, and all I felt was something just like a big shock through my whole body. And I'm like, what the hell? I picked my foot up. I had something in my foot. So it was like, I don't even know what the hell. It looked like a thorn or something. I don't know what the hell. And I pulled it out, and then I started bleeding, and my leg just started burning. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And so right after that, the lifeguards took me in. And when they took me in, they gave me some treatment. So whenever you get stung with a stingray, you just got to let it, basically you got to rinse hot water on it. You got to just like put hot water or stick your foot in a hot tub. And so right when we're doing that, everyone else is doing their practice and all that stuff. I'm sitting there for the next 6 to 7 hours, I'm at the hospital. They take me to the hospital. I'm going to the hospital. My leg is burning because I got poison in my leg and all that stuff. They give me a bunch of shots. So right when I go into those games, I'm not even 100%. I'm like, what the hell, man? My right leg is just not working. And as you guys know, my games ended early. I ended up tearing on that same side. I ended up messing up my right adductor on the same side where I got where I got stung by a stingray. But my leg was not normal. I mean, it wasn't normal for 3 to 4 weeks after that.
This guy brought up a good question. You don't pee on it? They didn't tell you to pee on it?
So the reason if you pee on it is because if you don't have access to hot water, and when your pee is hot, so when you pee, that's why you'll pee on it. But typically you don't pee on it if you have access to hot water.
And then Eric, a lot of people don't know this. Neal probably doesn't know this either. But after you pee on it, because you don't have hot water, if you still don't have something hot, you just put a warm vagina on it. You just have your girlfriend straddle your leg, and I will keep it hot. So I film all of this. It's great. I'm like yeah, like, you know, like I'm like pretending to feel bad for Neal. Oh, I'm so sorry, Neal. But really, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is gonna be great behind the scenes content. I'm excited. I get home. There's no audio. Like a fucking idiot. That night in my hotel room, I'm looking at the footage, and that's why that never made the behind the scenes. That whole day I worked my ass off. I filmed for fucking like 12 hours, and I never had the fucking mic plugged in. And I had no audio. I wanted to kill myself. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you as a camera guy. It's happened to me twice. I did a behind the scenes with Kristen Clever at her house once, and that happened. It's happened to me twice in my career. It's horrible. Like literally, like you get the sweats. Do you know what I mean? Like you hate yourself. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, that would suck. That would suck big time, man.
Oh man, that was so bad. And then of course you guys see that Dave Castro has been consistent in not caring about the athletes. He put Neal Maddox in a very dangerous situation. Clearly what they should have done is they should have been safety first, and they should have just put each individual athlete in their own bathtub and just had them tread water for it. There's a great comment somewhere on YouTube or some guy says they need to put athlete safety first, and someone goes, you fucking idiot. This like that, if that was the first thing you put first, everyone would just stay home. That cannot be the first thing you put first. Athlete safety first. It's so like what you're supposed to say, right? But it's just not real.
Yeah.
So what's a funny story is that, you know, for as many times I've went out in Santa Cruz and just swam out, I literally would swim right by the boardwalk and would swim out to those buoys and around those buoys. Not once did I ever get attacked by or get stung by a stingray, jellyfish, not once. But then I go down south, and what are the odds? They said 1 in a million. And guess what? I should have played the lottery that day.
Yeah, crazy. Is that the same thing that killed Steve Irwin?
Yep, he got hit in the chest.
Oh.
But he got hit by a bigger one. I think the one that I got, it had to be small. I didn't see it. So
the one that Neal was this long. The one that got Steve Irwin was this.
Yeah, it was long, man. All I know is it was small, but I mean that thing packed a punch, man. But they said the smaller ones are deadlier with the venom they released. But luckily, I got everything thrown out real quick.
Look at this. We haven't made a buck in a long time. Sunil Motwani.
Oh, there's Sunil. There's my guy right there. One of my guys right there. What's up, Sunil?
Oh, that guy trains at your joint?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Sunil. Hey, you were doing the open this morning?
Yeah. So my gym members were doing the open. I'm not doing the open, but my gym members were doing the open this morning.
And why don't you do it? You don't want anyone to see that you're 50% of the man you used to be?
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. You know, believe it or not, honestly, you know what? I mean, from all the years of competing and stuff, I just killed my adrenal glands, man. And so I just don't go there anymore. I've competed my whole life. And so now it's just, I just want to enjoy my workouts and not have to just go through the death of the workouts, because I can't just attack a workout like a normal person. I attack it with a games mentality, and my mentality is go out there and win that shit. So it's like, I just got to back off. And so now when I train, I train mostly by myself now, because I just don't want to, I don't want to be in that competitive mode anymore. I want to focus on my family and really focus on my son. That's where all my time and energy is going right now.
How old's your son?
He matter of fact, he turns, guess what? 8 months today.
Oh, you're in love. Look at you.
Yeah, man. Me and my wife, we're both in love with him, man. He's I'm just so blessed to have a boy. I never thought that I'd have a boy. I do have a daughter. You know, she's a lot older and stuff, but I'm just so blessed to have a boy. I mean, having a kid.
You have a beautiful daughter, by the way. We went out to dinner the other night and I saw her picture. Holy cow.
I mean, when you're younger and you have a kid, it's a little bit different versus when you're older and you have a kid. You know, being in my 40s, it's different. when I was younger, I loved growing with my daughter, but it was like I was growing up with my daughter. So we were growing together. Now it's like I have all this wisdom and knowledge that I've gotten over the years. Now I have this information that I can really, truly pass to my son and not just grow with him. I can actually raise him, and I don't think I did a bad job with my daughter because she graduated from college, did everything else, but it's just a different approach. Thank you. It's just a different approach. It's just different. The cool thing is I love watching your videos because when I watch your videos of your kids and all that stuff, it gives me so much motivation and so much drive of what I want to do with my son and how much time I want to spend and share with him.
I encourage you to, it's a different, how your daughter's 25, you said?
Yeah.
It's a different landscape now. I encourage you to consider just fucking raising your son like the way a lion raises. Well, I don't know if lions do this, but just right next to you in the gym. Let him learn his math by counting reps. Let him learn his business acumen and by helping you make journeys to the bank. I seriously mean that. Outside of maybe doing Kumon 10 or 15 minutes of structured math and reading every single day from the age of 3,
yep.
I don't think, especially in the Bay Area, the school is the way to go anymore. I know it sounds like a complete wackadoodle. If someone would have told me that before I had kids, but now I'm intimate with the school and I'm like, man, like someone like you, what he could learn from you and those clients in that gym if he was raised in there, dude.
So
nuts.
Funny. It's funny that
the smartest people. He's never going to meet 3 NFL players at school.
But
soak that in.
What's funny is what you're saying right now, because that's the model that me and my wife are taking. We aren't putting him in daycare. He's getting raised by us. We don't want someone else to raise our child.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is just having him around. Like my wife will plop him right in front of her while she's working out. When I'm working out, she'll bring him in so he can see me work out. And like right now, he's crawling around everywhere. So that's like his little workout right now. But the biggest thing is just having them get this exposure, because I work with a lot of kids. I work with high school kids who come to my facility. And the biggest thing that I notice with schools now is all the kids keep telling me mental health. And I'm like, okay, what does that tell me what mental health means? Because
good.
I understand if you are bipolar or you have, and I'm not, please, nobody whoever's listening to this, I'm not saying there's no mental health issues or anything. There is. But what I'm saying is that when I talk to some of my kids, because a teacher, like say for instance, if a teacher said, hey, you have to do your homework, they will claim mental health because they got tasked with doing homework and it's too much. They want to be able to go hang out with their friends versus doing homework. Whereas if someone has a real serious problem where they have massive depression or something where they want to commit suicide, I mean, that's going to be more of a serious mental health issue than, hey, these kids, like I'm literally hearing from these kids, they'll just throw that out there so they can go home and not have to go to school. They'll make things up and claim mental health or something like that just to go home. But here's a big thing. I don't know if you guys heard this, but Tom Izzo, Michigan State coach, he was just talking. Juwan Howard from Wisconsin, from Michigan, was facing off against Wisconsin. He punched one of the assistant coaches. This is a head coach punching an assistant coach. That I do not agree with at all. But what Tom Izzo said, because NCAA and them were thinking about getting rid of the handshake after the game, Tom Izzo said, yeah, right? Hear this real quick. This is how much softer society has gotten over the years. Beforehand, if you got your ass kicked, you had to be man enough to go down there and shake that man's hand and acknowledge that they kicked your ass. Because guess what? When you lose, when you lose, you eventually develop the aspects, if you have the right coach to teach you how to win, because you got to experience a loss to have that drive to want to win. But then they're trying to get rid of that handshake. But what Tom Izzo said is, look, man, we're already, if kids are not having a bad day, they get to go home. I mean, we're already making society softer for kids. Now you don't want a kid to go out and shake someone's hand after they get their or their butt kicked. What is happening with society? He's all, that's not going to happen here. We will continue to do the handshake because you got to give respect to the people who whooped your butt. Because not only that, it's just sportsmanship.
So the assistant coach told the head coach, hey, we're not going to have them shake their hands.
No.
And the head coach punched him in the face. The assistant coach in the face.
Juwan Howard and the Wisconsin coach were walking this way.
Oh.
When they're walking in the handshake, Juwan Howard was upset because the Wisconsin called a timeout. And basically, it seemed like they're running up the score.
Oh, opposing coaches punched each other.
Yes. And by running up the score, he kind of got pissed off, and so he punched him. He got disciplined and got suspended for the remaining games, for the remaining season. But
Fair.
what the whole purpose of Tom Izzo from Michigan State, not Michigan, he was just commenting saying that really we're going to start getting rid of this. I mean, we're already taking away all this stuff to teach our kids how to be strong, mentally strong. What are we doing? Just making our society weaker.
Yeah. Hey, was that so? I made the assumption that it was the handshakes were being taken out to avoid spread of disease. But you're saying it's to avoid conflict.
Yep. I have this. Look right here.
Is this it?
So this should be the Wisconsin. No, wait.
Who is that? Are those guys all on the same team right there?
So it's no, not 10 minutes. So look at Michigan brawl. No. Go back up to the top. Go put Jawan Howard. Michigan coach punch. And then I have this good video clip that I want to play for you because this is what's happening with society today, and I want to really share this with you.
Are you an affiliate still?
As of now, no.
But how do you do the open at your gym? How do they submit their scores?
So if you saw in the open, all you have to do is have certified judges, and judges can certify. So if your people are certified,
that's cool. Okay, cool.
Certify. So it's like so. My whole question was why be a affiliate if I have judges who can certify the other person? Because besides that, what else? I'm not trying to knock, but what else is?
Hey, dude.
What else am I getting from CrossFit?
Hey, dude, yeah.
And I'm not. I love CrossFit. I love what
you don't appreciate them. You don't appreciate them firing your homeboy.
No. What I love is the methodology of CrossFit that I do for my life and for my
clients. Right. Me too. Hey, listen. I saw an L1 certificate yesterday.
Yep.
And they have fucking Eric Rosa sign those now because he's the CEO. So you get your L1 and the signature on the L1. I don't want to turn this into a hating session. I know you're a good dude, but that shows fucking no fucking character. You are a fucking coward. You're signing your name on the L1 with the methodology that Greg Glassman fucking put together. How about fuck off? How about it's fucking nuts? I've always been a huge supporter of the L1. I've told every single person from day one, it is the single best 2 days of your life. You have to take it. When I see stuff like that, I'm just like, just go get the fucking journal and read it. Go find an L1 trick. Go to Neal's gym and have him walk you through it. Were you ever on the L1 team, Neal?
I was a red shirt. I was a red shirt from 2010, late 2010 all the way until about 2014.
You like it?
I loved being a red shirt. I loved everything that. So I'm an old school I don't know if I'm an OG CrossFitter, if they consider me that or what, but I'm old school. So when I mean old school, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, all the way up to about this past year is just the whole, how can I say it? I remember back in the day from 2010 to about 2016, I'd get a ton of people would come into the gym. I want to go to the CrossFit. Like it was on a daily basis, constantly people loving CrossFit. When CrossFit was at the StubHub Center, it was just a different vibe in California completely. Once it moved to Wisconsin, it kind of lost its flavor a little bit. And I'm not saying Wisconsin's bad, but Wisconsin, LA, just you can't compare the two. The StubHub Center, you felt like you were in that event. When I was at Wisconsin, I mean, it was nice and stuff. It just wasn't, it didn't have that sports mega feel. That's why if you ever look at, teams that are in big markets versus small markets, it's the same thing. When you're in a big market, you draw more attention. When you're on ESPN, the worldwide sports provider, guess what? The number one network, not CBS Sports. It's completely different. I mean, when it was on ESPN, everyone saw it. CBS Sports, I don't even know when the games are coming on.
It's funny you say that. I was in. I want to say one thing to this guy real quick. Hey, dude, don't let me ruin the L1's amazing.
L1 is off the hook.
It's off the hook. I'm so sorry. I see what Nicole Carroll and Dave and Greg built over there. Insane. The people who run it, insane. I don't mean ever to shit on it at all. It's just a joke that he signs the cert. But you're gonna have a blast. And the European L1 trainers, the red shirts, are incredible. They are basically all that's left of CrossFit, in my opinion, and so you're in good hands.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of OGs on the staff and stuff. So the biggest thing that I'll say, coming from another field and getting numerous certifications from National Strength and Conditioning Association to NASM and all that, and then I had all that prior to CrossFit. Once I got to CrossFit, I was like, all this stuff, I pushed it aside and I stuck with the CrossFit methodology because, one, I got fitter than I've ever gotten before. I got stronger in a later age than I've ever gotten before. And just like everything in my life got better. And not only that, I'm in my 40s and I'm younger than I've ever been in my life, meaning that my joints are healthy, my body's healthy. I can squat. I could do all the stuff that most other people who do the traditional stuff, they could still do that, but it's just a little different. And so even the level 1 versus those other certifications, I don't know if those other certifications have changed, but the level 1 is so like hands-on. I just remember going to my first level 1, Jason Khalifa was actually interning there. And I mean, we had an all-star cast. Dave Castro was there. I mean, Joey Gentry was there. Freddie Camacho was there. I'm talking old school. If you guys remember Miranda Older, like I'm talking old school people. And so
Freddie Camacho, you still in contact with him?
Yep. He's out in Hawaii right now. So I talked to him. They're good friends, man. Good friends. They're out in Maui.
So you're doing the open there, and so all you need is a certified judge, and you just go take that course on the okay, on the website. And do your clients, is it like a big thing there at your gym? Like, did you guys watch the announcement yesterday? Or
I was too busy in here prepping for them and putting up like plastic inserts and stuff on the walls and all that. I did not watch the open announcement. Instead, I went to K1 Speed and was racing go-karts with some of my clients.
Oh, awesome.
A lot more fun.
I thought they said that they were going to use Dave Castro's workouts for the open this year. Did you hear that, Souza?
That's what I thought.
And then when it came out, the workout came out, I text Dave, I said, is this your workout? And he was being a bit coy at first, and because like he didn't even know what was going on. And I think he was actually out in the field yesterday doing some long range shooting. And then I sent him the workout, or someone sent him the workout, and he said, no, that's not my workout. I'm like, that's not what you program. Yeah, they did. Okay. So that's interesting. That's very interesting that they would claim that they used Dave's workout, then not use Dave's workout, right? But then not tell us they're not using Dave's workout. And I know at first, a lot of people are like, well, you're just being petty. It's just a workout. It really isn't petty. Well, it's like going to if you went to the Louvre in France and you spent $2,000 going to France, staying in a hotel, you waited in line to go into the museum, the Louvre, for 3 hours. You spent $600 for your family to get in there. You stare at the Mona Lisa for 30 minutes and you leave and you fly back to the United States. And then you find out Mona Lisa in Louvre for last 5 years has been a fake. Real Mona Lisa is in, and they tell you where it is. You'd be like, what the fuck? Even though it means like, but this is more profound than that, actually, because here's what concerns me. These pieces are put together. Dave's not like week 1's going to be this, week 2's going to be this, week 3's going to be this, and then semifinal, quarterfinals, semifinals, game. No, the whole thing is a puzzle. For those of you who don't know, it's a whole puzzle he puts together. And I wonder if it fucked up week 2 and week 3. I wonder if they changed week 2 and week 3. But it's just consistent with just the lies coming out of that place, the stuff that they tell you that they're doing, that they're not doing. There's no integrity coming out of there from the leadership. Yeah, it's gross. What leadership? It's like, dude, that's why we liked Dave so much. He had so much fucking integrity, and it's the opposite now. It's the opposite.
So one thing I still love what you talked about, Sevan, when you're talking to Chris Cooper and you said on that on his podcast, can you repeat what you're talking about with the Hells Angels part? That whole because you say it's so good, and I just remember when I was out to dinner with you guys, and that just like hit home base so much. I love that saying you said.
Basically, CrossFit is a movement. it's an ideology, and then slowly it turned into an activist organization as big soda and big pharma started infiltrating the health sciences and started saying stuff about the physiology and that you could work off of Coca-Cola. Basically, we started fighting with them. But basically, it's a lifestyle, an ideology, and a cult. It doesn't produce anything. All it sells is personal responsibility and personal accountability, and it's these clubhouses where all of us huddle together and judge each other for the better good.
So
now,
remember your comparison?
Yes, we are the Hell's Angels. That's what the Hell's Angels are. We're a gang. We hang out together so that we all feel comfortable. We hang out together. But when the owners bought CrossFit, they thought they were buying Harley Davidson. They thought they were buying a motorcycle manufacturing plant. You did not buy a motorcycle manufacturing plant. And they're still walking around. And instead of realizing, holy shit, we didn't buy a motorcycle manufacturing plant, they're trying to build motorcycles now. They're trying to sell bullshit like supplements and whoopies. And Greg was trying to push doctors, trying to invite doctors into the gym so they could realize that CrossFit is the cure. They're inviting doctors in to fucking prescribe medicine to the clients. It's like everything they're doing is fucking backwards from what CrossFit is. But don't worry, Craig Ritchie says everything's fine. It won't affect what you're doing in your gym. And Eric Rose has been promoted to the board. He's chairman of the board. I can't fucking believe these, and I use this in the most clinical sense ever. You are a fucking retard, Craig, for going on to Google and reading what chairman of the board is, and then saying that's what happened to Rosa. You don't like, and then you call your show the news. It's called, why don't you call your show I'm a fucking idiot? I'm not even trying to be mean to Craig Ritchie. I like him. I'm just saying what he does on his show. That there's the sun is out and you're telling us the moon is out. We can see what happened, dude.
You just don't understand corporate structure.
Yeah, you just don't understand corporate structure. Eric Rosa has been promoted to chairman. Dude, you think the guy at Peloton who just had to fire 2,800 employees and got removed from CEO and he's chairman of the board, you think he's in charge too? You fucking knucklehead. These guys should have their anyway. Yeah, I'm glad you guys but it's content for me though. It's content for me. I tried not to, I really don't want to hate on those guys, the retard crew, but you're just so stupid.
Me personally, I cannot speak on anybody in CrossFit or anybody individually. Only person I can speak on is myself. So I take responsibility for myself.
Then you're never going to make it in the podcast game then.
I do not speak on anyone else. I just don't speak on anyone else. It's just
you're a good dude.
It's not my focus. My focus is my family, my son, my gym, and the people that I work with, and my friends. And besides that, I mean, there's right now.
Well, you have good parents. Did your parents raise you like that?
Yeah, Sevan, I had one parent.
Oh,
I had one mom. I had one mom, and I want to be honest with you. My mom raised me in a household. We didn't have too much. We didn't have a lot at all, and she just raised us with love. And that's the biggest thing. I just look at what's going on in the world today. I mean, my son is, I mean, look what's happening over in Ukraine. I mean, that stuff, I mean, people need to be awake and aware of what's happening. It's sad what's happening right now. What's happening in the world is just sad all around. I'm in San Jose. I've seen the homeless population quadruple.
Yeah.
Every single year, it just keeps going up. It's
You mean the drug addict population. Drug addict population. But here's the thing. For as many drug addicts out there, there's mothers who are helpless with their families who are getting put out because they can't afford rent. How do I know? My mom was one of those moms when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I think I told you about this, Sevan. No one knows this. We lived in hotels. We lived in cars. I didn't have stuff. And you slept in cars at night as a kid?
Yes, as a kid.
Yeah, that's fucking tough.
It's fucking hard. You don't.
And then you go to school, and you go to school, and then you go to school.
And my mom would take me to school, and when you had, like I said, my mom did the best she could with 5 children. She had 5 children. The men were shit in her life, and she did the best. My mom kind of got disowned for having us, kids who are, mixed because she came from an Italian family. And when you're an Italian family, they want to eat the same. And so it took years for my grandfather to finally accept my mom and bring her back. But there's that conflict. So when we're out, we didn't have any help. We didn't have aunts, uncles, grandparents, and it was just my mom, my brothers and sisters, and that's all we had. We had each other. So my mom told us, we may not have all the money in the world, but the thing that we do have is love. So that's the number one thing that I know that I have. And that's what I try to do is I try to share the love. A lot of people see my exterior and are like, oh no, Neal's mean. He's this. No, I just guard myself because I know how shitty people can be in life.
Yeah.
I grew up around a lot of scum. And when I mean scum, fucking drug addicts, gangsters, people who fucking kill people. That's the thing. That's my background. I don't share it with people, but that's what I do. I grew up in Hunters Point in the hood.
Oh my goodness. You grew up in Hunters Point?
Well, before Hunters Point is where it is now. Hunters Point.
Well,
now
I know. I remember Hunters Point in the 90s. I had a girlfriend there. It was scary fucking shit.
I want you to think 60s, 70s, 80s when the heroin epidemic was at its height. If you want to watch, if you don't know what it's about, watch American Gangster. They talk with Denzel Washington. They talk about that, how the drugs went from New York City to San Francisco. But guess what? All the drugs ended up in the hoods. Why? It's not going to end up in the rich areas. It's going to end up in the hoods because in order for there to be a rich, there has to be a poor. Who's going to be suppressed? They have to make sure that they have people who are down underneath in order for the prosperous people to keep prospering. And so, life is, we all have been dealt life, but you want to know something? I wouldn't change my life for anything because it's made me the man who I am. And it's taught me so much that I get to share with my son. For instance, I see a lot of people, and I'm very happy for these people that they're fortunate to be able to provide for their kids. But sometimes they over provide for their kids, that their kids become so dependent that they don't even know how to be their own man or be their own woman, like be their own self, that they're so dependent on their families, even past the age of 20, 30, so on. And whereas I learned independence at such a young age that, and please don't take this, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I'm just saying I'm speaking for myself. I just learned stuff at a young age that taught me how to be a man at a younger age and quicker, and taught me how to work and just taught me how to put my head down when times get tough and grind it out. And so going back to my original story with people being homeless and all that stuff. So what I decided to do this past year is I decided to do a little bit of fundraiser, but not only that, I put in a lot of my money too. And I went out and I bought families food. And
I love it that you said families and not just homeless people. Cause I was homeless for a while too. And I didn't, not with the families though. I was homeless with like dudes and all those motherfuckers. It was just me and one other dude I'd see occasionally, some old man. And we were the only ones who weren't drug addicts.
Yeah.
But you're right. I do see the families like pulling up to McDonald's in their cars at when I was homeless, like 4 or 5 in the morning, and they would be like the mom and the 2 kids, and they'd have the car running and they'd be asleep in there. I've seen a bunch of that.
Man, you know how cold it is to sleep in a car? I mean, it's cold. Even if you have blankets and stuff, it is freaking cold. So we used to have to huddle up with each other and all that. But back to my point with feeding families, I teamed up with Catholic Charities and I just went out. I literally drove out before Thanksgiving and drove to people's homes. And believe it or not, I thought, I wanted single mothers with children to feed, but they gave me some other people. I was surprised at how many people who were like elders, people were in their 60 plus that I brought food to. I went to Whole Foods, bought a ton of like turkey dinners and all that stuff and went and delivered it to people. I spent basically that whole day delivering food with my wife and my son. My son was still a baby little infant. Well, he still is an infant, but he was a little infant inside his car seat, and we're delivering food. But that was the best feeling that I've ever gotten, just to be able to do that, because of the simple fact that I felt like for the first time in my life, I'm able to contribute and really give back and really make a difference in someone's life.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're making a difference in people's lives every day having that gym. Is your mom still alive, Neal?
So, story, yeah. My mom's still alive. We had a scare yesterday. She was in the emergency. My mom has been fighting lung cancer for years now.
Was she a smoker?
She was a smoker for many years. So quick little story, and then I'll get back to it. The story is when I got into CrossFit, Dave Castro is the one who got me in. Pretty much, I went to the ranch, found out about CrossFit, but how I became affiliate was Dave Castro. He got me to become an affiliate, and then I ended up got me to become a level 1 instructor and all that. So, I take my hat off to Dave Castro. I have a lot of respect for him because he got me.
What do you mean he got you to be a level 1 instructor? He's like, hey, you should try out for he saw the way you were, your behavior, your demeanor, and said you should be a red shirt.
So in 2009, when I first met Dave, I was at the ranch, but then I went back and volunteered as a judge. And I'll never forget him and Greg Glassman were walking by me. It was a final event, and I told Greg, I stopped by, got to meet Greg, and I'm all, hey, I will be at the games next year. I will be competing. And Greg looked me in the eyes and he said, yes, you will be. I've never had a bad experience with Greg. I've never been discriminated on. So I don't know what anyone else's situation has been. I've never had a bad experience with them, but
that was 2009 at the CrossFit Games at the ranch.
2009 at the CrossFit Games, but I don't know what everyone else's experience has been. But I've never had a bad experience with him. And then that following year, I made it to the games, and that's when I was talking to them, and that's when Dave, convinced me and got me to become an affiliate. And then also, I was talking to him about a red shirt because I started, me and Jason Khalipa started hanging out and teaming up to start training together. And that's when we started our whole bunch. It was me and Jason started off. I was at a level 1, and I was talking to Jason, and I saw that he was an instructor now because when I took my level 1, he was a intern. And I was like, I'm interested. Talked to Dave. He got me to go through the process to become a level 1. But that's where we started that whole team training where it was me and Jason. Then Garrett came on. Then Miranda came on. Then Pat Barber. And we just had a team of people who just started, training together to compete. But anyways, fast forward now. When Pat
would drive over the hill to train with you guys.
Well, actually, Pat lived in San Jose for a while.
Oh, okay.
I
saw Pat 2 days ago.
I think he did. I'm not too sure. But this is when he had Jason had his CrossFit gym downtown San Jose. This is old school.
Okay.
Not when he ended up opening up these boxes.
And was Bijibing coaching you guys then?
Who?
Austin Bijibing, was he coaching you guys?
Austin was not coaching me at all. He coached Jason, but when me and Jason teamed up, we didn't have Austin with us. He wasn't coaching me.
I know you're in the middle of the story, but I got another question too. Sorry. I think Jason told me that you were basically unbeatable in training too. That basically like you trained like a fucking complete savage. He had never, and that's kind of crazy coming from Jason, who has such an insane games career. He said you were just fucking nuts in training. So he said it was like almost scary.
So this is the thing that I found out about myself, and I found it out many years later. When I would go into training, I had a mindset. I wasn't in front of people. I was turned on and I was focused and I was just going. There's just one thing. It was me in the bar or whatever I had to face. And whenever I trained, I was at my ultimate confidence. But yet, as soon as I would go to the games, and this is where, where Dave Castro was really good. He would mind fuck you with some type of workout or something like that. And then and I said that I was mentally prepped, but I wasn't. It took me years to figure it out. But I'll let one event dictate my whole games. Because I know when you're at the games, you get rewarded for consistency. When you're inconsistent and you get hit with the inconsistent bad placings, that can cost you. And when I'm going up against the best in the world, when you have a Jason Khalipa, you have a Rich Frown, you have the top of the top, you can't afford to have fuck ups. You can't. You got to stay consistent. And so what would happen was from my training, I went back. And so what really got me to really dive into my career and say, what was it that was, I had to ask myself better questions. I wasn't asking myself the questions that I needed to ask to figure out, to get the answers that I needed to correct my training, to get myself to become, be one of the people on the podium. Because like I said, I've trained with a lot of guys, and I started CrossFit at 32 years old. So when I came into CrossFit, I was 32 years old. I didn't come in at 20 something years old like a lot of these other guys. Oh yeah, there's the old school box right there. There's the old school right there. You're bringing back some memories right there, man. But basically what I found out was I started watching what was it that made Rich Frowning, what made Jason, what made a lot of these guys. And what I realized is that they had a great support system. And when I mean support system, from their families, they had their mother and dad around them. They had that. And so what I realized after CrossFit,
man, Jason's got some loving parents, doesn't he? Holy shit, his parents are loving.
What I realized after that was I had to do some serious soul searching, and I had to do some serious digging with myself, and I had to clean up past stuff before I could move forward, because I wasn't mentally connected. I had different issues that I was dealing with that made me lack confidence when I needed that confidence. For instance, I was deaf until the age of 9. And so when I was deaf until the age of 9 and getting held back in certain things, it messed with my, I don't want to say necessarily say ego, but it messed with,
yeah, your confidence. Yeah,
and
you're
so,
always trying to avoid shit, right? When
yeah,
you can't hear, you can't see.
and so when I went into the competition, I didn't realize, like I said, I didn't realize all this stuff until I got hurt in 2015 after that, sting and tearing my growing in the games on that same leg where I got that sting, that I had to really do some serious soul searching, and, I had to dig. But I'll tell you one thing, my wife, the woman that I chose to marry, her family helped change a lot of that stuff for me. They became the family that I never had, meaning like, my mom was always there, but my mom was too sick to ever travel to my games and all that stuff. And this is why I brought up this story, because when Castro got me in and made me affiliate one year, when I thought I was going to lose my mom, he got my mom to go to the games and got her to go in his box and hang out there because she has some serious medical conditions.
Oh, God.
And that's where, like I said, I have so much respect, and I love the dude, because like a lot of people just see him on, whatever he posts and all that stuff. But if you really get to know him and know who he is and stuff, you realize he's a very down to earth dude, and he has a big heart. And so that's the biggest thing. That's why I brought up this story, is because he made a dream come true for me. And I'll never forget. There was one games, I forgot what year the games was, when they had the clean ladder where you had to rotate, and I won that event at like a 365 lift. At that time, it was big. This, now guys are lifting a lot more than that, and great for them. But I was down underneath, and I was at the games. I was by myself. I had some friends there, but I didn't have any really true support. And I'll never forget, I go downstairs, and I'm literally in the tennis stadium in the locker room downstairs talking to my mom. And I was just talking to her, and I was just like, Mom, these games are just not going the way that I wanted to. I'm just, I fucked up on some events. What's going on? My mom told me one key thing, and I'll never forget it. And I went out and I won that event for her. And she just said one thing. She just said there, she's all, son, she's all, I know you've been through a lot. She's all, keep your head up, but I'm praying for you, because something good is going to happen for you right now. I know in my heart, but something really big is going to happen for you right now. You're going to have an amazing time this next event. And I just sat there, and I listened to everything that she said. I had some tears coming out because, like I said, I was a mama's boy. I love my mom. And so I went out there, and I'll never forget, I went out there, and I just erased all doubt, and I just thought about my mom the whole time. And believe it or not, I cleared that ladder, went over, won that event, and then the games, whatever happened after that. But that one event just showed me how important it is to have the support system. And so, yeah, here's this lift. I'll never forget this, man. I caught
just
that.
So you know, people, that stadium is so loud you can't even hear in there.
And it was packed. That's an ugly lift, and it was packed, and I was really banged up and injured. But that one event, let's get back to 2015 after I got hurt. I got to go back, and I got to study all my previous events that I did well at, and all my previous events that I sucked at. And what I did was I asked myself, what were the thoughts what were the thoughts that were running through my mind when I failed at events? And I wrote down a list of all the stuff that was happening to me and the things that I was going through that were causing me to feel certain ways that would get me to underperform. And when I went into the Masters, I, dialed it back down. And like I said, my wife and her family support, and then the support of my, my kids and stuff like that. I just went out there, and I used all that experience, and I just didn't look back. And I ended up taking the Masters division. I beat Sean Ramirez that year in the Masters. And, I know it's not the Open, so it didn't really give me the joy that I wanted. It felt like I was playing AAA versus the major leagues baseball. Please, master athletes, don't take it personal.
Take it personal, you bitches.
No. You haven't competed in the Open division. When I mean in the Open, when you're out there on the floor with the big dogs, when I mean the big dogs,
look at you and Kyle. Woo!
The Open announcement, I remember that.
Hey, dude, Kyle's a scary athlete, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very scary athlete, but man, I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't so when I competed against Kyle the year before, I was coming off a surgery on my foot, so I wasn't 100% when I competed against him, and so I wanted that open announcement so badly because of the simple fact that he kicked my ass in the 35 to 39 division. I took second to him, but I wanted that open announcement. So that the following year, Dave set up that open announcement, and we went head to head, and I edged him out. But he's a great athlete. He's a great.
Yeah, he probably thinks you're scary too. If I said that to him, man, you guys are something special.
I mean, the dude, he's a beast. You know, he's a beast. He's a proven champion. But like I said, with the open
good
division,
mindset too, right? Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
Great mindset. Great mindset.
The open division, like I said, has no comparison to the Masters. Like I said, it's going from playing majors, the Major League Baseball, to AAA. And, you know, I mean, when you're looking down the line, you have Chris Wheeler, Matt Chan, Rich Frown, and Matt. I mean, you have all these guys that you're competing against. You don't get that in the Masters. I mean, you do have. Don't get me wrong. You got some beasts in the Masters, but these guys are the ultimate beasts when you're in the open. I mean, these guys are putting up the top times in the world, and they're lifting some of the heaviest weights. So that's the only difference for me is that when I went to the Masters, it just didn't have the same effect because when you see their ceremony and then you see the Masters ceremony, you're like, oh, we got to share the platform. And then their ceremony is like, woo, Olympics, beautiful and stuff. It's like, it's not the same. And so to me, that's why I retired because it just wasn't the same. I wanted the feeling to win the open division. The Masters, it was great, but the open division is what I competed for. That's why I retired because of the simple fact that my abilities were leaving my body due to the fact that Father Time was taking them. And at the same time, it has to create the stage for the next act. And that's the young up-and-coming stars who are killing it in the games today.
Yeah. On a quick side note, this is the kind of coffee I drink, Paper Street Coffee, and they sent me this mug, and my mug's falling apart.
Oh, man.
I think he got this from Yeti. So Yeti's customized mug is like falling apart. Paper Street Coffee. Wow. Thank you very much. Yeah. Great coffee, by the way. Insane coffee.
Something that I talked about earlier that I wanted to play for you, And I was just talking about, I do believe in mental health. I do believe that there are mental health issues out there and all that stuff. But I believe that sometimes some people abuse it. Okay.
Yes.
Now, there's a thing that I'm going to play for you right now that I think this is what is happening in society. The U.S. has had some strong times for many, many, many years. But let me play this real quick, and I want you to hear this real fast. I'm going to just play this. Sorry if you guys can't see it, but here, let me play this.
Is it on the internet? Maybe Susan can
right here. Watch. Listen.
My father walked 5. I'm driving a Cadillac.
So what?
My son is in a Mercedes.
I'm going to rewind it one more time.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yep.
Right there.
My grandfather walked 10 miles to work every day. My father walked 5. I'm driving a Cadillac. My son is in a Mercedes. He said my grandson will be in a Ferrari. He said my great-grandson will be walking again. So I asked him, I said, well, why is that? And he said to me, tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. He said to me, many will not understand, but you have to raise words.
So when I hear that, that's what I think that's happening in society today, is that we had such strong times. And remember, strong times create weak men. And I'm not saying people are weak out there, but when I look at the youth that I'm working with, when I'm talking to them, they don't even look me in the eye. They'll look down, and it's like, I'm like, hey, eye contact. You know, whenever you're talking to someone, the biggest way you can show someone respect is giving them eye contact. We have kids today who are behind computers, who are just stuck on computers and don't even know how to interact with people.
Yeah.
I don't want my son to ever be like that. I do not want my son to sit behind a desk for 12 hours a day and not have no type of physical activity. You know, the physical activity, I believe, really strengthens the kid, gives them the confidence. Not only that, gives them the mental fortitude to go out there to achieve. And so I wanted to share that with you because I think that it's very important. And I think that we have to really invest in our youth. That's why when I see what you're doing with your boys, I love it. I mean, it gives me so much motivation and so much drive, because it's like, you have such an impact on them, and I see how much you have developed them, and I'm just like, damn, Sevan, you are a great dad. I mean, from the workings that I see on the video, I love everything that I see, and that's from what I see, that's what I think. So
Neal, I've never ever in my life felt like I was anything. Like, I made 10 movies, directed and produced more than 10 movies. I never would call myself a producer or director. I never introduced myself, never had that on my Instagram profile, never put it on my resume. I just don't feel like it. I never felt like anything. The second I had a kid, I was like, motherfucker, I'm a dad. Like, holy shit, I'm a dad. And I was like, and to this day. So I woke up this morning and my son goes, where are you going? I go, podcast. He goes, why are you doing that? He goes, you don't like doing that. I go, I love doing that. He goes, you don't love doing that more than you love me. I said, not even close. And my other two sons are like cheering, yeah, you love us more. I'm like, yeah, I love you more. I'll be done in 2 hours. You guys will have to go cook some bacon for me. When I'm done with the podcast, we'll eat a big old bowl of bacon together. And they got all excited. Yeah, there's nothing. I've never felt, and what's amazing, what's kind of crazy too, is I really do feel like a podcaster too. I'm 49 years old, and for the first time in my life, I was like, wow, I can actually those two things, like I can trick myself into believing I am those things. Like, it just feels so, I'm just embodying them. Like, my whole life is either making this show work or raising my sons. I don't even know. Maybe I'm lying to myself, but when people say just be present for your kids, I don't even know what that means, because I don't even think I know what the opposite means. I don't know how I would not be present for my son. Right. If I'm looking at my phone and my son interrupts me, I either put my phone down or I go, yo, can't you see I'm using my phone? What's wrong with you? I'm like, well, I don't know any other way to be besides present. I'm not like, they're awesome. Yeah. When you were saying you have your son with you when you work out. Yeah. It's so interesting. When the clock's going and you're doing Fran, and you care about your time, but in between you go from the bar to the pull-up bar, you stop and kiss your son. You have this out-of-body experience, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Who is this guy who doesn't care that he just lost 5 seconds? For me, it was like I would get a brand new camera, state of the art. I've been waiting 6 months for it. The box shows up on the counter, and my wife's like, "Oh, you got mail," and I'll be like, "Oh, cool." And I go play with my kids for 2 hours, and then I fall asleep with them, and I wake up in the morning. I haven't opened my camera. Cameras are I love cameras, but I didn't even. Fuck you. I don't like. And it's like that with me in the gym now too. Although I try to draw really strong boundaries with them so they can learn when I'm working out. Yep. I'm working out. You can come in there, but you better not talk to me like this, because I want them to learn from that behavior. But if I hear yo, I need help wiping my ass, I'll more than gladly stop working out and run in the house and wipe someone's ass. I love wiping your ass. It's a small window. I'm going to get to wipe your ass. You know what I mean? It's exactly. Yeah, let me hook a brother up.
It's like
for you anytime you want.
One thing that we've been doing a lot, when my son was younger, we'd try to go out for hikes. We try to get outdoors with him too, because I want him to know the hills. I love the mountains. I love going out there. Matter of fact, Sevan, I still want to know if you want to do Mount Shasta.
Oh,
anybody, guys, if you guys are on here listening, I told Sevan we're actually in June, so it's funny. We're all sitting down at dinner, and Dave was talking about how he's going to do a 50-mile ruck fasted. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Well, guess what? I'm going to be doing Shasta. And he's all, my cousin, it lives over at Shasta, has done Shasta numerous times. And I was like, awesome. So he linked me up with his cousin, Brian. And so we're supposed to do Shasta in either June, July. We haven't figured it out. And so right then and there, I asked Sevan and Dave if they're interested. I texted Dave just last week, and I was waiting to talk to you, Sevan. But Dave said once he let me give him the dates, and he'll try to figure it out to make it. But Sevan, what's up, man? Shasta, we could do it. It's a weekend, just a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. We hit it, get out.
Hey, I want to paint a picture for you real quick, and this is just me being completely avoiding you talking about hiking. By the way, Neal's probably going to do that with Dave's cousin, by the way, Dave Castro's cousin.
I am going to do
You are. Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. That's a whole nother story. We could do a whole nother podcast. I want you to look at something real quick, and I can make this picture really, really big. But when I was a kid, my parents divorced. I come from Armenian immigrants on my dad's side, my mom's first generation. When my parents divorced, I moved into a neighborhood, all super crazy white neighborhood. It was basically the hub for the Hells Angels. There was meth being sold on my street, crazy shit, dudes with motorcycles driving across my lawn. Like it was fucking it was the Wild West. It was in a town called Pacheco, California, outside of the county seat, which is Martinez. Then at the age of 16, my mom kicked me out of there, and I moved into a neighborhood where I was the only white person. And I was an all black neighborhood except for the Chinese guy who sold heroin. And it was fucking nuts, right? You have Neal Maddox, who grew up in Hunters Point. If you don't know, Hunters Point is when I had a girlfriend who lived there. I don't ever remember seeing any white people when I was there. I had a girlfriend there, and one time I pulled up in front of her house, and I got out of my truck, and when I went to the door and came back, there were dudes rolling up with a car jack to steal my rims. I'd only been there 2 fucking minutes, and they tried to like steal it in front of me, like while one dude talked to me. They're trying to jack my shit up. I had like literally jump in and drive away. Like just fucking, it's nuts. So, broad daylight shit. No one gives a fuck. Like the cops aren't even going to do nothing. Cops don't go there.
So what's funny, Sevan, is how what you brought up. It's kind of funny. Mine is just, I'm like you, but just on the other side. Like growing up,
you went from all black to all white.
So I was predominantly, it was all black, and it was a lot of heroin and crack that was getting sold out there. And my mom moved us to San Jose. When she moved us to San Jose, we moved into predominantly, it was all Mexican American. So I was the only like mixed race kid there. And so I'd get jumped by either the Norteños or the Sureños because I wasn't part of the gang. And so, you know, the Norteños are more of like your Mexican Americans, and your Sureños are typically a lot of them who come from Mexico, who are like S13, things of that sort, if you guys aren't familiar with gangs. But I grew up in gangsters in the hood. So the hood that I grew up in, I had to start hanging out with gangsters, and I had to claim a side. If I didn't claim a side, I was getting attacked by both sides. So when I claimed a side, then I wasn't getting attacked. But then sports, if it wasn't for sports pulling me out of that, yes, think about me hanging out with gangsters, riding a skateboard, and then I'd carry a bat in my backpack like Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles.
Right. I get it. Then you have Dave Castro, who is literally like, if you saw where Dave was raised, you wouldn't fucking believe it. He was raised in the center of what Neal just said is the Norteños and what Sureños, whatever their name is, country. He grew up in Steinbeck country. It's all fucking Mexicans. He lived in this corridor of Meth Alley. It was fucking insane. It's just hardcore fucking Hells Angels and hardcore gangster Mexicans. And Dave, it's not my place to say, but Dave had a fucking some crazy intimate shit happen with him. Then you have Greg Glassman, who founded CrossFit, who was diagnosed with polio and had a crazy fucking abusive hard childhood. Fucking nuts. And I could go on and tell you, these were the people who were in charge of CrossFit. Now you have, you will not find more people who want to, there is a reason why Neal and Dave get along, and Dave and other people don't get along with Dave, like Dave and Fikowski don't get along, or Dave and Vellner. There's a reason for that. And you have to ask yourself that. Why is that? But you had these people who built this thing, who had incredible hardship. There would be no one who would go out of their way more for someone. Greg would go out of his way for gay people, black people, anyone he felt that was threatened at all. Why? Because he was threatened his whole fucking life as the 6-year-old kid who limped that all the other kids beat the shit out of. Yep. And same with fucking Dave. Not so much me. I just like gay people because I was raised in the Bay Area and they know how to party. But And I like black girls, but other than that, but none of those things were done for that. Like none of those, Greg didn't help black people or gay people because they were black or gay. He helped them because he knew he has this pathology where he was picked on, and it's his way of saying fuck you to the world. Dave and Neal get along because they both had they know how to communicate without talking. They could grunt at each other. I just had dinner with them. Like they're obviously more mature men, and now they speak. But in those younger days when we were all young men, it was weird. It was weird. And he had a greater bond with Neal than he did with some of the Navy SEALs who competed at the games. And there wasn't a lot of words said. There was a lot of just unspoken understanding. And it's just crazy to me now the horse shit that people fucking believe. The horse shit that people fucking believe. And don't forget, it was Dave who wore the gay pride shirt at the games that one year. No one told him to do that. He didn't do that because he was trying to be virtue signal or anything.
Yep. Right.
He fought for this fucking country. Anyway,
yeah,
I just like, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to bolster those people by saying, look, we're more open than you. No, like, it's not that we're more open or closing. We don't do it for those reasons. It's more like game recognized game. Like, we're good. It's good. It was good fucking people doing it for the right fucking reasons. Not to put your fucking BLM or LGBTQ flag on your garage door so that like everything's cool. Like,
I mean,
it just annoys the shit out of me as I sit here and talk to you and think about the old days like that.
I mean, for instance, what I've learned in my later years in life is that, there's problems. There's problems arising everywhere.
Right.
Everyone can bring up a problem. But what I learned is that if I don't have a solution for a problem, why am I going to bring up the problem? Until I could come up with a solution, then I should bring up the problem, because everyone brings up problems. But if we have problems everywhere and no solutions, all we have is fucking problems. And so that's why, whenever there's a situation where there's a problem, I try to find out if I have a solution or if I could find a solution to solve the problem. And if I can't, I go out and I try to seek others who can do so. And by doing that, then I can raise the issue on the problem because I have a solution to solve that problem. But like I said today, I just think, a lot of people are bringing up issues and problems without the solutions. And, when I go back to my childhood, there's a bunch of problems, and the solution was sports for me that got me to get away from those problems, that got me to get away from the drugs, the gangs. I didn't do the drugs, but I had friends who would go down to 7th Street and sell fucking crack. Excuse my language. Yeah, crack. Guess what? The methamphetamines were very big. Crack. And then have you ever heard of crank?
Yeah, I dabbled in crank.
So
crank is basically just dirty meth, right?
Yeah. So basically,
it's like the pink shit.
When I was growing up, the gangsters and stuff. So the gangsters that I was around and all that, that's what they did, is they sold crank. They sold that stuff.
Is that what it is? It's just dirty meth. It's like there's coke, then there's meth, and then there's.
I was a kid. I don't like the shit. When I was exposed to this stuff at such a young age. I mean,
Did you ever do drugs, Neal?
No, I didn't. I saw what it did to my family, and I never wanted that to happen to me. I saw, I had family members die. I've seen people overdose. I did not want any of that shit in my life at all. And so I stayed as far away from that shit as I possibly could, because I saw what it can do. I see what it does to my little brother. My little brother, I love him. However, our relationship has been strained because I've tried to help him numerous times, and he has an addiction to methamphetamines, and he's an alcoholic. I've tried to help him numerous times, but if you don't want to help yourself, you can't help them. But here's the thing with addicts, and this is what people have to understand, especially with addicts. This is going to be very hard for me to say, but my mom, very hard for me to say. My mom had a drug problem. I do not knock her for that. She provided. This is the thing. Even though she had a drug problem, she did whatever she could. If we needed something, she went out and tried to hustle, to do whatever we could. Anything that I needed, she did. I mean, even though it wasn't the best, she hustled. So I do not want to take anything away from her. But there are some drugs issues. And here's the thing that a lot of people have to understand. With heroin or any of those type of drugs, when you do it a couple of times, or that one time or a couple of times, and you get it into your system, that addiction, once you become addicted to that addiction is always there for the rest of your life.
Sure fucking is. Sure fucking is.
Find different areas to focus on, because if you don't focus on that, you go back to that addiction, that shit will take your life. And I watched my mom go through addiction and get off get off of it to get on the government addiction. So if you did heroin, what they do now is they send you to methadone clinics.
Crazy.
So we don't want you getting high off the street drugs. We're going to get you high off of our drugs. And that's what our government does. You go to San Francisco, they fucking provide shelters for you to do drugs. It's like, what the hell? You go to the Philippines, you get caught doing drugs, they kill your ass. You're dead or you're going to jail. It's like, I do not promote drugs at all. But being in a house, growing up and being in a neighborhood and seeing how easily, I was a kid, I can get it. And then growing up and then having a kid of my own, and then my daughter and her mother live in a nice area of San Jose. And where she went to school was a decent school, but then hearing kids in her elementary school talk about pop rocks and all this stuff, like basically cranking shit for kids, that kids have the access to this shit at schools. I'm sitting there like, what the hell? I mean, I knew. So when I was growing up, it was in the neighborhoods. It wasn't in the schools. Like at high school, then you would hear about kids like.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. We didn't have it in the schools. It was always like you're walking home or something.
Yes. But now kids are starting to find out about that shit in schools. Like my daughter was in 5th grade. She came home. We had to sit down and have a whole talk with her about this stuff. So, I mean, society has changed a lot. I mean, I didn't hear about, like I said, I knew about it on the streets, but I didn't hear about any drugs until I got to high school. And then when I got to high school, that's when I heard about drugs. Now, my daughter heard about drugs in elementary school, like with kids bringing this shit to school and getting in trouble for it.
You think so badly of drugs that when you mention it in the same name as your mom, you want to make sure the world knows you're not disparaging your mom.
No,
is that right?
I love
Ever. Yeah, you love your mom. And you're not judging. What you want to make sure that's clear is that you're not judging her. You're not blaming her. You're not like you're happy with your upbringing. In respect to your mom's presence in it.
If I look at how my mom was treated by some, this is why I choose not to be a certain way. I watched my mom get abused by men. Okay, abused. And
isn't that, we were both raised by single moms too. I mean, my dad was in my life a lot. So
my dad was Folsom Prison. So I don't know if I told you this, but going to a prison as a kid, I was fucking embarrassed. I hated going to I'll never forget. I hated it. I was humiliated when I'd go to that prison. I freaking hated it. And so my whole life, I said, I'll never go to jail. And so that's what made me stay away from drugs, because I saw what Folsom Prison was. I have a book that my dad wrote. He's dead.
Is he still in there?
No, he's dead. He died. So I have a book that is about this big that he wrote, that he knows the Melendez guys. He's been around. Who's that one crazy ass dude? Manson. He had all of everything, has a big ass book, and wrote about each of these individuals, because he was in there for almost, think about it, for most of my whole damn life.
Was he in there for drugs? Was it drugs?
I think he was in there for robbery. I was such a young kid when it happened, but I wouldn't doubt it if he was doing drugs. So I didn't really have a tight relationship with him, but all I know is that I just knew that I didn't want that type of life for myself. But all I know is that men did not treat my mom well, and my mom in her younger years made some bad mistakes, and some of those mistakes caught up with her, and that's why she's dealing with it with her health. So please, if anyone hears this, I'm not condemning my mom. Mom never did that shit in front of us. She, I didn't find out until I knew something was wrong, but I didn't find out until she hid it so well. I didn't find out until she was doing it until high school, because she hid it so well. And I found out because someone else told me.
Yeah.
So as we got older and more mature, then my mom talked about it, and we talked about it, and that's what we discussed. But you want to know something? Without those experiences, I wouldn't be able to have the experience that I have now, and I wouldn't be who I am now. That's why a lot of times I go out and I try to go out of my way and help people. And yes, I do have a hard exterior, because when you've grown up around a bunch of fucking gangsters and crackheads and fucking heroin addicts and all that stuff, you see how those people are. And those people are pretty fucking shitty. because they don't give a damn. They want to know when their next fix is going to be, and they could give a shits about you. But that's a difference. My mom never acted that way.
Man, I'm reading this book by a guy named Patrick Bet David. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't. What's the name of the book?
I don't even know. It has the number 5 and it has the number 5 in it. I just started it yesterday. But he lived in a refugee camp in Germany, and then he escaped Tehran during the war with the Iraq-Iran war in the 80s when they were fighting each other. Then he went to a refugee camp in Germany, and then his parents fled here, and he ended up in Glendale, California. And it sounds like he got involved in a lot of gangs and shit like that. Oh, here it is. Your next 5 moves. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God, dude. I'm this book. I'm only like I don't know. I'm listening to it on audio. I'm probably like an hour into it. I had to stop and call Matt D'Souza read the book, and I'm like, dude, I cannot believe how dense this thing is, full of information. And it's how I take information too. Lots of numbers and stories, and I like it. So it's a very interesting thing he says, and I've said it before, and it's probably not a very popular thing, but there's this whole idea of privileged. And basically, there's a premise that he gives up, like people who've had a really hard upbringing, like they actually have the most potential. Oh yeah, it's so good, dude. They have the most, and he's rich as fuck now. This guy, he just bought a $20 million house, I think, all cash. He showed everyone on Instagram. He's like, hey, I'm not showing this to brag. I'm showing this to show you what hard work can do. I'm a refugee. He's half Armenian, half Iranian, and like it is from our heart. It is the people who come from hardship. Like I also read some stat the other day that like 90% of the millionaires in this country are self-made.
Yeah.
And meaning they didn't come from privilege. And I see stories like this, but that's true with all these people. That's true with fucking Oprah and LeBron and Kanye and Jay-Z and these motherfuckers had to work.
Yep.
And when you say that, I wish people wouldn't talk about the problem, I talk about the solution. Those are the people who need to hear what you just said. Those people need to get with Neal and be like, hey, stop talking about the problem. I know it's popular to talk about the problem, but start talking about the solution, because those people did it. Like if those people would have listened to themselves now, they wouldn't make shit of their lives. Do you know what I mean? You kind of, and this guy David Patrick Bet David, he says basically the same thing that Matt Fraser says. Matt Fraser took second place and he hated it, and then he realized that his second place medal was his favorite medal because he hung it in his gym, and it was the one that basically said to him every morning, "Fuck you, you're not worthy," and he used that as rocket fuel, right? Like, and Patrick Bet David did that too. He took all the things that people said negative about them, and those are the things he read to himself in the morning. And I'm like, damn, that's the opposite of affirmations. He's all, those are the things I use as rocket fuel.
Hey,
and I was like, yeah.
What you just said there is exactly what I did. I had teachers who told me that I would be nobody, that I'd be in jail like my dad and locked up. This is in high school.
Like school teachers?
School teachers, yes. So you have to understand, I was raised by a single mother. She had 5 children. So there's times where I'd go to school and I was having a bad day and I'd act up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what would happen. There wasn't, how can I say, I didn't feel like I had the proper leadership. And so that's where I looked to my coaches, and it was my coaches, my football coach, that Brad Scythe, who taught me the biggest lesson in life. He taught me a biggest lesson in life, and I'll never forget. I was a starter, and then one time he sat me and he benched me, and he's all, you know why I'm benching you, right? It wasn't that I wasn't a good enough athlete. He says that I needed to get my ducks in, or like get my shit in order. I got to show up each and every day for my team. I got to respect the person next to me. Not only that, when I'm out there, that, I don't got to be out there. I get to be out there each and every day. And when I'm out there, don't waste any minute, because you don't know when it's going to be your last. When he put me out there and he sat me, and it was my senior year, and I was like pissed because I was like, this is going, this is not going, or sorry, it was my junior year. This is not going to get me to college. This is going to mess me up. That. I was pissed, but it was the best lesson that I ever learned. And it taught me that sometimes you can, don't believe all the hype in your head. You can get full of yourself sometimes. You got to take some humble fucking pie, and you need to lower yourself down and just just what I mean by you're not above everyone else. Bring yourself down to earth and make sure that you're respecting the person who's next to you, just like they're going to respect you, and treat others the way you want to be treated. So I learned some valuable lessons from coaches. And so those, I guess, I look to as, I guess, my father mentors were all the coaches. And if it wasn't for sports, who knows where I would have been, because the drive to want to play at each and every next level is what kept me from staying away from the gang, staying away. Well, drugs I stayed away from because I just didn't want to end up in jail and like that stuff. But it kept me away from all that nonsense because of the simple fact that, I had a goal of trying to make it to the NFL. Even though I didn't make it to the NFL, I mean, I had an opportunity. It got cut short. I ended up making it to the games, which was still becoming a professional athlete like I wanted to be.
Do you have any side hustles going besides the gym? I know you have the gym and the kid, and that's a lot. Do you do other?
I mean, mostly with the gym and my son. That's what I mainly focus on. I mean, I do programming. I mean, but who doesn't do programming today, right? I mean, shit. I've been in the field for 24 years. I mean, anytime I was at the CrossFit Games, I usually won all the strong events, and I was the oldest guy out there. So I know a little bit of stuff, just a little bit, not that much, just a little bit. But, what I learned is from failure. I learned a lot of my stuff from failing on my own, and if it wasn't me in the gym experimenting with things and failing, I would have never learned what I've learned today. And I think there a lot of times, people take a textbook and they try to follow this textbook inside and out, and are like, oh yeah, or see this great Instagram and, oh, I'm going to do this. Whereas a lot of your learning is just, you should do it on your own, learn from what works best for you, because what works best for you may not work best for the next person or the next person after that, but yet find out what does, journal it. And as you journal it, then see if you can reproduce those results with other people. And since I've had my gym I've been in this field since 99, earlier than that. Well, I've had a gym since 2004, and I graduated in 99. I graduated from college in 99, and then I started. Oh, here's a good story. So
real quick before you tell me the story, don't forget, how many locations have you been in since 2004?
3.
Okay, not bad. Okay, go ahead. So great story.
I started off in a garage. I started off in a 2-car garage at my house. Then I moved into a small warehouse, and I moved into this 7,000 square foot building. And so the story that I was going to go over. Well, I just lost my train of thought on that one, but where was I at?
How did you learn all this stuff? Is it like, how do you know, like, do you do your books? Do you do your taxes? Do you pay the rent? Do you sign the leases? Who does all that shit?
I do it all, man. I love all of that stuff.
You do.
I love accounting. I love I love it. I mean, honestly, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I probably would have been an accountant, because I love numbers.
No shit. Yeah, Sousa likes that shit. Sousa likes that shit too.
Oh, man,
I can't. I would have, if I didn't have a wife, I'd put have money under the mattress. I'm so it's so heady to me. It's so adulty to me.
Yeah,
you do like it, huh?
I love numbers, man. There's nothing like numbers. So based off that, your next 5 moves, a book that, if you haven't read it, is 48 Laws of Power. That's
okay. I have that book. I haven't read it.
So I've had that book on my shelf. It started in my Audible so this is how I do my Audible. I'll have Audible, and if the book is really good and I listen to it on Audible, I buy the book.
Oh, that's what Sousa does too. I asked him about that 5 moves book, and I'm like, the one I'm reading now, and I'm like, dude, this book is so fucking dense. I'm gonna need paper and pencils. I listened to it, and he goes, yeah, that's why I bought the hard copy after I listened to it a few times. Yep. I'm like, motherfucker.
Man. So there is a book that I want to share for you that I want you to. This book is let me pull it. Let me get it from my archives real fast. But this book is a book that I think that you should read to your sons or when they're old enough to read. So, you know, and this is not the book, but I'm going to mention a book. The first book I'm going to mention is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Very common book, right? But this is this Think and Grow Rich. This new book that I read, it takes formalities from Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you read the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
No.
Okay. And then here, let me just
hold on a second. Susan, do you know all these books he's talking about? The Monkey Sold the Ferrari. You know that one?
No, I haven't read that one, but the other ones have. 48 Laws of Power is really good. Robert Greene.
Yep. I've been on this, but let me pull this. Let me pull this because I archived it, and I want to. So this is the problem with me. I'll read books, and I forget the titles, and I forget the author, but I never forget the lessons that I learned.
Me too. Me too. I same with cities I go to. So I travel. I've been all over India, and someone could ask me where, and I couldn't tell you one place. I just always say Varanasi because that's the only one I can remember. I can't remember cities. I can't remember the names of books.
And then
I shouldn't say I can't. I don't make it a priority.
Do any of you guys know how to pull your books out of archive if you archived them in Audible?
Yeah, I think you just have to go to the library there, then.
Yep.
And then if you scroll down, they should be there. You might have to hit the button to like re-upload them.
In August, download, finished. Let's see, collections, authors, January. Damn it! I think it's like, damn it! I either way.
There's no rush. There's no rush. Tell me what's it about? Maybe Susan read it.
So basically, what this book is about, it's called. It came to me. It's called The Wealthy Gardener.
Mm.
Look this up. Watch. If you guys can pull this up real quick, it's called The Wealthy Gardener.
It's something you read to your kids?
So this book, when I read it, it's a book that I'm going to read to my son because the lessons in this book, and there's so many of these lessons. If you could pull it up, I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I got it right here for you.
This book right here has been this. I just want to share with everybody because this is one of those books. If you have a child, you want to share it with them. Basically, it's about this gentleman who basically came from nothing and is self-established and wanted to pay it forward to kids who are underprivileged. And how he started was he started with his next door neighbor with a kid who was kind of lost, and all his metaphors have to relate to a garden. So whatever happens in life, there's like, you know, like for instance, like, you know, with friends, sometimes you got to pull weeds. Sometimes you guess what? Friends can be nice roses one day and weeds the next day, and you got to pull them. But it just has just so many lessons in there. And I don't want to do this guy is, you know, I want to give him justice. So I just recommend for people to read this. Share the lessons in there with your kids, with your family, because there's some great lessons. And he talks about so many good things in there. And I don't want to destroy the book. I just know that the book is just a great book to share with your kids.
Awesome.
And so
I just put it in my cart on Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, once you listen, I mean, this guy just, I mean, left, like how you're talking about this book that I just downloaded right now, the 5, I mean, it just taught it like the 48 laws. It just gives you so many just pieces that you're like, oh, I'm going to use this. Oh, I'm going to use it. Oh, I'm going to use it. Just like so many nuggets, man.
Yeah.
Neal, there's this kind of journey that I see a lot of young men go through. You're a young man and you want a lot of nice things. You want a car, you want fancy rims, you want the nice stereo. And then you go through this phase in your life where you realize material objects aren't important to you at all and aren't relevant to your happiness. So you kind of like, for me, I took it to an extreme and I tried to like really embody kind of like the Jesus ascetic lifestyle. I chose to be homeless and I got rid of everything I owned. And, but now that I'm older and wiser, all the pieces, well, who knows? I'm sure more will unfold also. It always seems like you know everything, but you can, there's a Taoist saying, give everything up and you'll receive everything. You can own 1,000 Ferraris and not be attached to any of them. It just takes a fucking shitload of fucking practice. And that's the fucking goal. And what does it mean to not be attached to them? To what not be attached is, and I use this example all the time, to not be attached is to drive your brand new Honda Accord that you spent $50,000 from right off the lot, be really happy with it, driving down the freeway and a rock pops up and cracks your windshield. and you experience some discomfort and pain, but you just watch it. And you don't let it change your mood, but it's just different. It's just different. It's not who you are. You're disappointed, of course, the windshield got cracked. It's your brand new car. But it's not who you are. It doesn't change your mood. You don't try to pull up next to the truck driver and fucking flip him off. You don't. You're at peace with the journey of the object as you are with the piece of the journey of yourself. But you can have 20 Accords. You can still have the Ferrari. It's just your relationship with it has to be of non-attachment. I mean,
so what you're saying,
you feel me on that? It's like this journey. Like there's and it's not even balance, it's relationship.
So what's funny is that what you're talking about is I studied this book. So when I was in college, it's I got a minor in religion. So I was studying.
Oh, sweet.
I know a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, me got a minor in religion, but it's kind of funny because I studied a bunch of different religions. But the biggest thing is I read this book called the Gita, and when I read this book called the Gita, it talks about how these individuals would give up all the riches of life, like would just completely give shit up and just like be one with self. If you really want to truly master oneself, you got to be able to give up luxuries and riches and like basically, sex, all that stuff,
Yep. I tried all that.
Funny. It was in college and people thought I was fucking crazy. I like literally did it in college. Like I would stay away, like literally isolated myself, did all that stuff. And you want to know something? I've never been more in touch with my soul and myself than I've ever been in my life. Like it was almost like I would be around, I can go around people and I could feel their aura. Like I know it sounds crazy, but I
100% know what you're talking about.
Like when I wasn't in the mainstream of society, like watching all the other, and I was focused on one and just really whole with myself, I could feel other people's aura. Like what's crazy though is that I can, before they would even speak, I can tell them what they're thinking. Like I can't explain the shit that I experienced at that time. I can't explain it. All I got to say is it sounds like some fake movie ass stuff because the way I felt and what I experienced was like no other. But just like Adam and
there was almost no Neal and you only experienced what other people experienced.
Exactly. And then of course it was like Adam and Eve, where Eve got Adam to bite the forbidden fruit. That one girl got me to knock off my path, and then all of a sudden it all went haywire after that. But you go from sleeping on the floor because you want to be one with the earth, and next thing you know, you're sleeping in a king size mattress with a hot chick and silk sheets. That no hatred towards women. That's, by the way, could no hatred at all. Trust me.
Hey Neal, that's exactly. I knew that was the path, and I was unable to have that relationship with objects. So I did the exact thing to just let them go. So I did the exact thing you did. I just got rid of everything. Okay, fine. Then I'll just if I don't know how to interact with objects without being attached to them, I'll just get rid of everything. And that's what I did. And you're right. That's exactly what it was like. I knew like I would have like out of body experiences during whole conversations with people, and people would freak out because I would never be using my own mind. I would be using their mind. So like someone I just met at a coffee shop, I'd be saying everything that they were thinking. They're like, how the fuck are you doing that? But I didn't even know.
Yep.
I didn't even know. I don't know. I didn't know. I don't even know what I'm doing.
And so the tattoo, that's why I got this tattoo on my arm, and it's an old school tattoo, but it's basically what it is it's a sun, and it has some writing inside there, and in the middle of the sun it has an eye, and so it says marks of a true one, and what that stands for me is always be true to yourself. And I think of this saying in my head, and if anyone ever heard about it before, Spike Lee said it, never fake the funk on a nasty dunk, meaning like, it's just like, just be true to yourself, just be real. There's too many people who try to hold these fake personas. People are either going to like you or they're not. And even if they don't, as long as you love yourself and you treat others with respect, you're fine. But the biggest thing is it's a sun. The sun is the light and the eye is my soul. So it's a light around my soul, to always know that we're bright individuals. The only way we can dimmer ourselves is if we allow ourselves to dimmer. That's the only way we go into darkness. But guess what? There's light around us each and every day. When I see my son, that lifts my spirit. That's my pride and joy. That's my way. You know, when I see my wife, when I see my family, when I see my friends, there's that energy and that aura that's around us 24/7 that can pick you up and lift you up. As long as you stay in that, positive, state of mind, and you're striving to, do better good for others than, worse.
But Neal, when you say an eye, you mean the letter I or an eyeball?
Oh, sorry, the eyeball.
Eyeball.
So because if you ever really truly, so when I was studying the Gita and reading the book of God, I read all that stuff. You'd look into people's eyes and you can see. I don't know if you want to say their soul, but I felt like I could see their soul. I can tell, like, you can look deep into someone's eyes and you can know if a person is truly, truly sincere, like, or if a person's really, truly present, or if they're not. Like, you can see a lot through true eye contact, true eye contact, and I'm talking about where you're in a setting, not like I'm just walking on the street and I'm just looking here, but when you're in a intimate setting and you're talking and really expressing your feelings with someone and talking, like, you can really share your soul with that individual.
It's interesting. Do you ever feel like you have to dim your own light? Not that you have to, but you do, because to fit in with all the other lights.
So
like you don't want, it's kind of like that in the grocery store. Every time I go into the grocery store, I'm like, dude, am I like the only person in here? Like, no one's paying attention to anything except what they're doing. And it's this, and I just kind of trip on that. I feel like I'm invisible, or I feel like they're invisible and I'm the only one there. They're just ghosts, kind of.
So here's a perfect example.
Like, I could take their wallet out of their purse. They wouldn't even fucking know. You know what I mean? Like, they're just oblivious.
This is the funniest thing, Sevan. There's a guy, I live in Willow Glen, and so there's a guy who walks his dog every single day. And when he's walking his dog, he waves to every single car with the biggest smile. He'll like, hey, like, so happy, so present. And when I watch, like me, so every time he walks by, I'm like, hey, I'm waving right back. Hey, I don't even know the guy, right? And he's way back, then he's all, yeah, he goes like this. But yet, you only see him do this. I mean, I've sat down and I've seen him go by, and I've seen him do it maybe 1 or 2 times. Most of the people just look and they see a guy waving. And they're like, who's this crazy guy? And all the dude is fucking trying to spread more happiness and trying to just be civil. I mean, just be a happy person. Because most people, this is what they want to do. They want to stay in their own box. I mean, shit. Yeah. They sit in a box car. They go into a box office. They're just, going about life in a robotic way. And you want to know something? I'm guilty of it sometimes, that, get so focused and get so caught up that I forget we're all human. Guess what? We're meant to be social. We're meant to be interacting with other people and to have social lives. And having a social life is just saying hi to your neighbor. Back in the day, people used
you said it, be civil. My dad used to say that. Be civil, man.
What happened to, believe it or not, Mr. Rogers. Do you remember that as a kid?
Yeah.
I mean, listen to the stuff that he taught kids on those shows. Now look at what we teach kids. I mean, have you seen some of the shows now?
I really don't know. I haven't. It's funny whenever anyone sends me, I try to stay away from it. A teacher recently asked, I'll tell you a story. Go ahead. Tell me, Mr. Rogers.
So what's funny is that me and my wife went back and watched the first Sesame Street.
Oh, wow. That show's gone to shit too.
But if you look at all the stuff that was made in the 60s and 70s and stuff, I mean,
it's good.
It's good content. Like, it's content that is teachable to, like, teaches, like, it's good content.
Yeah. But I loved Sesame Street as a kid. I think it's how I learned English.
I think it's garbage. A lot of the stuff isn't good now, but
it's bad now. It's horrible now. It's horrible.
When me and my wife when
It's
me and my
horrible now.
when me and my wife were watching it, it was just like, what are some things that we want our son to be able to see and watch and stuff. And so we're reviewing stuff to see what can you learn, like, are these teachable, like, what are stuff, we don't want him stuck on a TV or on an iPad or anything like that. But when he does, like, if we do allow him a half an hour of TV time or something like that, what is something educational that we feel comfortable for him to watch? And so that's why we reviewed the old school, and we aren't doing the new school. It's a lot of the old school because
yeah.
I
have my kids watch all the old school shit too. Old school, yeah.
And,
If they're gonna watch cartoons, they're gonna watch some old shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
the stuff is just a little bit different. So that's what I thought was pretty cool, just going back and reviewing that stuff, man. But man, I'll tell you, man, life has been a ride. It's been a ride. And I will say one thing, even with going back to, and this is going back to what we were talking about earlier with CrossFit. One thing I will say is that I'm very grateful for the fact that I was introduced to CrossFit by my buddy Jacoble in 2009. Ooh, my computer might die. Here, I'm on carry, so bear with me.
Yeah, do
walk with you while I don't get my computer to die. But my buddy Jacoble got me into CrossFit, and I'm very grateful for CrossFit and everything that is provided. So you guys are going to take a look at my gym while I'm walking around this whole place.
Yeah, that's a beautiful gym. Congratulations.
I have barriers everywhere. So I have another area where I have a private side over here with more rigs and stuff where I train a lot of my NFL athletes and stuff like that. But I'm heading into my office. Hold on.
Okay, so Jacoble, 2009.
Jacoble introduced me to introduced me to CrossFit, and when he introduced me to CrossFit in 2009, I basically want to say, I'm grateful for CrossFit and everything that is provided for me and everything that it's allowed, like all the people that I've been allowed to meet and be around and experience. So I'm very grateful for every opportunity that has happened in the sport of CrossFit for as long as I've been a part of CrossFit. And a lot of it happened when I was, in CrossFit when Dave was running CrossFit. So moving forward, I'm not too sure if I'm going to be a part of CrossFit anymore, due to the fact that the person who got me into CrossFit is no longer a part of CrossFit because CrossFit got rid of that person. And, I don't know if I really want to continue to support, I'll perform CrossFit, but I don't know if I want to continue to support a brand that is now involving Monster. Okay. If you think about Monster is a Coca-Cola product. Think about Coca-Cola. What did we fight against for so long of not trying to have in schools? Why do you think we have child obesity and all that stuff? Because what do they have in schools going on right now? You have these big ass corporations paying these schools to put these products in these schools, and you look at what's in these containers and all this stuff. Guess what? It's killing us inside and out. It's killing us. Don't get me wrong. I'll drink a Coke once every so often, but having it daily or having Cheetos and all these sugary snacks and all that stuff. Do you understand? A lot of these companies own all these brands underneath them because they buy up these brands, and then they start, using shittier ingredients that start to kill us off. There's another book that I want to that you read, and it's called The Unhealthy Truth. It's by Robin. I have a bookshelf over here with probably about 500 books over there, but it's called The Unhealthy Truth. And she talks about in there, and I read this because this woman talked about, like, everything that I'm studying now is for my son. So everything that I study is to educate my son, to make sure that he doesn't have the experience that I went through, that he has a better experience. But The Unhealthy Truth right here, when I read this, it basically talks about this lady was trying to figure out why her kids were always getting sick, what was going on. And so she couldn't figure out why they were getting sick. So she went in and started researching, reading medical journals, started studying all this stuff. And then when she started studying all this information, she started realizing that this group called Monsanto, that owns 90% of most soy products that are out there that produced, what are like a lot of those things that basically
GMOs, chemicals, genetically modified. Yeah, all the chemicals, trying to get rid of the seeds. Yep.
But but basically they produce this major chemical that I forgot.
Oh, Roundup. You're talking about Roundup?
Yeah, they made these chemicals that kill people, and then they're making these genetically modified seeds where you're having blue seeds that they're putting in the ground that are growing, that they're rechanging the rDNA of the seed. So when you look at what they're doing and how they're genetically modifying all these foods and all that, she went in and you'd see she actually got a backlash because she started exposing people. Did you know that, like,
she's lucky they haven't killed her. No,
well,
I'm not being extreme, but
watch here. Let me grab this book real quick. But this book right here, it's just, the stuff that she says in here is just like, holy shit. She basically talks about how in Great Britain out there, or like out in Europe, that they don't have organic food. It's either food or GMO. Like here we have organic or food. And so what's crazy is, like, I don't want to spoil the book for anyone. You guys got to read it to really get the information, but you'll be surprised at the stuff that you can figure out, and you'll be surprised at all the chemicals and all the stuff that they put in the food that can have a profound effect on your kids' attitude in their life. And think about it. If it affects kids, why don't you think it can affect adult if they're eating that food as well?
Yes.
And that's what people don't understand.
I'll show you something that I saw the other day. It's absolutely crazy. So there's this guy, Albert Bourla. Albert Bourla. Albert Bourla is a Greek-American veterinarian He's a veterinarian and chief executive officer at Pfizer. He's a veterinarian. This is his wiki page on Google. Okay?
Yep.
Now I'm going to play this for you. Now listen carefully, fucking people. I've told you this from day one. This has never, ever been hidden from any of you. They have been always 100% very clear about this. And now you're gonna be like, no, it's not. This is the CEO of Pfizer. Okay. And just listen carefully here as I play this. I'll try to play it a few times for you.
To slip out, I don't know, but he admitted something that we here have been saying for a while. Watch.
And we know that the two doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any. And we know that the two doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any. And we know that the two doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any.
We know that the first 2 doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any. Not my words. That is the CEO of Pfizer. But don't worry. They're coming up with more shots to fix that. Anyway. You have to take responsibility for your own kids is my point. Like what you're doing. You have to study. You have to study. You have to study.
I'll tell you one thing. I can't talk too much on COVID or the vaccinations or anything like that.
Yeah,
that's the whole.
Neither can I, but the CEO of Pfizer can.
10 hours and all that, and they could talk that. I have my thoughts and all that stuff, and I'll keep that stuff to myself. But one thing I will just go.
I lost you, Neal. You froze. I just got you can't talk to it. You'll keep it to yourself, and then you froze. Did we lose Neal? Oh, I hate that sound. We lost Neal. Okay, man, I play with my mic too much. Neal, we lost you, baby. We lost you, Neal. We lost you. I'll read some text messages while. Looks like Monday I'm going to do a recap show of the CrossFit Open with Brian Friend on Monday. Excuse me. Well, that was an hour and 52 minutes with Neal Maddox. We've lost him. I wonder if his battery died in his computer. He's got bad Wi-Fi. You think he'll log back in? Excuse me. At least I got to get in some vaccine talk. Got to get up on my high horse. It was the Illuminati, Darren says. I struggle with the Monster Energy thing. But I mean, you really got me there. That's a good one. Here's the thing. I feel like anyone should be able to pay for anything and get anything they want. And I believe in capitalism and free markets. And if CrossFit wants to take money from Monster Energy drink, fine. What I don't like is if you're going to lie about it, if you're going to actually like that shit is bad for you. It causes obesity. It causes cancer. It's like if you had to choose between that and water, you would choose water 10,000 times out of 10,000 times. Can those people still say that? And you bring up a really good point. What if some kid sees Noah holding that? I don't want to use Noah as an example. I don't know if he's sponsored by them, but you see someone, some super athlete holding that, and then a kid thinks that's okay because they're doing it, and that is how the mind works. What's even crazier is that you have people like LeBron, Venus, and Serena who are supposedly representing the dream, especially for black kids, and then they're selling poison or the rock. I mean, it's if they even have one inkling of that being true and they still do it. I mean, if they're ignorant as fuck, I will give them a pass. But if they have one inkling of knowing that that's true, it's crazy, because it is the source of probably, outside of not having dual parents at home, it is the source of almost all problems in this country. People consuming that shit. So yeah, it's a tough one. I think we've seen already from CrossFit, from the leadership there, that the integrity is completely fucking out the door, and that they would never speak truthfully about Monster, and that, which basically means it's corrupt. And I expect nothing else when your fiduciary duties are to make money as opposed to tell the truth, which is the way it used to be. But I'm sound like a broken record, but it's fun. I don't mind it. Okay, guys, we're out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, do we have a guest tomorrow? Oh man, tomorrow we have Joey Gomez on. Who is Joey Gomez, Sevan? He's a retired UFC athlete who is coming back after 5 or 6 years and without fighting, and fighting on March 4th. And I love talking to myself. I love talking to myself, and I love talking to a professional fighter. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.